Hi y'all, Dan here. Thanks for joining me. I want to show you something this morning. Why do we come outside? Check this out. Isn't that beautiful? Well, today I want to share a different trail. This is called Owl's Roost Trail. It's up by Burmill Park in Greensboro, North Carolina. Man, spring has sprung. It's just gorgeous out here. Gotta check all this out. Hope you can see. Know that video doesn't do justice for the beauty of this place. This is another one of those times when, again, trying to be responsible as we get out in nature, but there are so many opportunities to see and to be responsible at the same time. Well, good morning to you. I'm going to take a little hike today, and as I do, I'm going to try to share some of the answers that I've been sort of challenged with by one of the other hikers, and just sort of share a little bit about myself as I go through this day. Just the first couple of questions that they gave me to answer was, first, it's my name. Well, my name is Dan. Actually, it's Danny, old Irish name, Danny Nobles, and I'm the youngest of 6 boys. We had no sisters. Mom was a saint, but we had a lot of wonderful times growing up, which is the second question of, where am I from? Well, originally, I'm from the sticks of North Alabama. We grew up in the country, and in North Alabama, the closest town of any size to us was Florence, Alabama. And we loved being out in the country, and I guess that's why I still love this hiking and getting out. So I'm going to turn this thing around so that you don't see me. You can see the beauty of what I'm seeing, and then I'll keep talking. So how old am I? Well, I'm old. Not too old. I'm 63 years old. I'm the youngest of these boys. So my oldest brother is 10 years older than I am. So Roger's 73, and then we were scattered in between that. We had a brother, Randy, who died about a year ago last March. And from when he died, all of a sudden we realized just how tenuous life is, and we wanted to continue to rebond and get back together. You see, most of us went into the military right out of high school and left home, and we were scattered all over. But now we've rebonded, and we get back together once a year. Unfortunately, this year that's not going to happen. We had planned on meeting over at Black Mountain, and with the challenges of this current situation, we're going to have to put that off. So we'll see if we can get together later on in the year, hopefully, or if not, we'll resume next year. Again, like I said yesterday, I'm learning that my plans can be held loosely, and that I don't have to be so focused on my plans that I can't enjoy today no matter what's happening. So we won't get together as we planned, but we stay in touch, and we're looking forward to the time we can join one another and have fellowship again. So yeah, that's my name, that's my age, that's where I'm from. It's the country of North Alabama, and I'll tell you more in just a bit. Isn't this pretty? What a wonderful morning. Well, let me keep on talking a little bit about me, so I can get this part over, and then we can get to what's really important, and that's just seeing the beauty that's out here. So again, they asked me about my own family. Well, I am married. We've been married for over 43 years, and she has put up with a lot through that time. We have 2 grown daughters and 7 grandchildren, so we are blessed. Our oldest granddaughter is getting ready to get married, and so this has also interrupted her plans. She had planned on getting married this month, and she's had to postpone that now. So there's a lot of things that happen to a lot of people, and I just hope that we can all be responsible and get past this, and get on with whatever we call normal in life. So yeah, I'm married, 2 daughters, 7 grandchildren. I told you my oldest granddaughter. Then I have my youngest grandson will turn 3 in Halloween. He was a Halloween baby, so we won't forget his birthday. And he's a delight. Every one of them are. Love our daughters. And Connie, my wife, she's been a huge blessing to me that I've taken for granted too often. And if I have a regret, it's that I have taken her for granted during my lifetime. So that sort of leads into the next question of occupation. Well, that's not easy to answer. So I want to break it up. I have an occupation, I have a vocation, and they are different. My occupation was my entire life, adult life, was spent in the military. I spent about 32 years in uniform. Started out in the Air Force. I was enlisted, worked in electronic communications, and then after going to college, I switched to the Army, and there I became an engineer officer and had a wonderful career as an engineer officer, and served 3 tours in the Pentagon. Talk about my middle tour a little bit later, but during that time, I was assigned to the Pentagon, the 2nd tour, in June of 2001, and we all know what happened in September of that year. So yeah, we have gone through quite a bit. I retired in 2007 as a colonel, and that was my last tour in the Pentagon. So yeah, it was a wonderful career, but it was demanding, and especially on my wife, it was demanding. So anytime people want to thank me for my service, which I was honored to be able to work with wonderful people and given responsibilities that this Alabama boy probably should never have been given, that I was also supported by a wonderful wife. So that's my occupation now that I'm actually retired, but my vocation is sort of goes with my trail name. You know, a monk is actually someone who lives in a monastery. The forest is my monastery, but I am a Benedictine brother, and try to follow that path of living as a Benedictine, which has been given me a place of being still and quiet, and I strive not to be known by what I do, but just to be, and to be who I am, and that's where I get my identity from. So yeah, that's my vocation, is living a life of contemplation, hope to practice humility, and just being in relationship. Turn this thing around so that you're not having to stare at me the whole time. Again, just to look at what has been wrought for this day. Well, they asked me to share some of my favorites. You know, what is my favorite season? Well, you're seeing it. Spring. Spring is absolutely my favorite season. Everything comes back to life. The trees start to sprout their leaves, and it just seems like it's the greenest of all the time. And I love it. I love spring. I honestly prefer the warmth to the cold. I'm not a big fan of being cold, but I'm okay. I can deal with it. And but my favorite season is spring. My favorite food, well, this might offend some folks. I'm sorry if I do, but I'm a carnivore. My favorite food is meat. I love a good steak, and so I will enjoy it. I enjoy seafood. This herring is flying over now. It's just gorgeous. I don't know. Oh, a pair of them. I don't know if you could get them or not, but yeah, I like meat. I'm learning to like vegetables, but that's not my go-to food. It's meat. My favorite place that I visited. That's a hard one. I've seen some wonderful things, from the Alps to the castles in Germany to the little villages in Angola, the Great Wall of China. But honestly, my favorite place is probably the Ozark Mountains. I love the Ozarks. I would love to just spend time in the Ozarks. And then in the Ozarks, this may sound corny, but my wife and I love Silver Dollar City. That's where we had our honeymoon. That's where for years we would go back annually and spend time at Silver Dollar City. Love it. Love the Ozarks. Love the mountains. I love the psalm that says, I look to the hills. Where does my strength come from? And then we'll pause here, and I'll come back in a little bit and we'll talk about pet peeves. Okay, they asked me about my pet peeves. These questions cause you to think, so I'm inviting you to sort of go through for yourself what these questions mean to you. My pet peeves, I guess, one is just insincerity. I don't like it when people aren't sincere, or at least I don't perceive them to be sincere. When it seems like what they want is just to use somebody rather than to really get to know them. You know, to help someone is great. To receive help from someone is wonderful. But then you pay that forward and you look at how can you help others. That's important. That's important to character. A fear that I've overcome and how I overcame it. Well, I have long had a fear of being irrelevant. I had my own selfish needs to feel needed because I was afraid of being irrelevant. Now, how did I overcome that? It was a long journey. For about 2 years, I took a course called Soul Care. And in Soul Care, it was the first course I ever took. And I only finished it about 2 years ago. So, you know, I was nearly 60 years old when I started it. Every course that I had taken before that was a course that equipped me to be able to do something and to do something for someone else. This was the first course that I took that was for me, that I could take care of my own self and not feel selfish in doing it. So, yeah, my fear of being irrelevant and my need to be needed has been replaced with a desire to be wanted. I enjoy being wanted to share fellowship with someone else, to be in time with my family. I want to be wanted because, honestly, and think about this, if you need to be needed like I did, and the needs are met, then you are no longer needed. You do become irrelevant. So it's sort of a self-eating snake, I guess. So I would much rather want to be wanted. Something that I don't like doing, that's easy. I don't like meetings. You know, in my career, I had to participate in a lot of meetings. And so when I finally got to a point where I could have a little rank, I said, no meeting will last more than an hour. And at the end of an hour, I would get up and walk out. So I don't like meetings. Okay, so something that you don't like to do, of course, is the meetings. And then the next question was how many tattoos you have. Well, that's easy. I don't have any. I just never have had the desire to do that. And for those that do, you know, okay. I just, you know, I know, and I've talked with folks that their tattoos have meaning to them and they tell stories and memories, and I can understand that. But personally, I just don't have any desire to have a tattoo. So answer to that question is none. And then what was my most awkward moment? Well, I'm going to try to keep this story short. It was in the Pentagon. My first time in the Pentagon, I was a young major. I worked for a 2-star general, and he hated meetings too. So he would send me to his meetings, and I went to this one meeting and went in and told them that I was there in attendance for this major general. And so another major takes me to my seat, and it was at the center of the table. And he said, well, here's your itinerary. And I said, well, what do you mean my itinerary? And he said, well, your general was the chair of this meeting, and so now you are. And I look around the room. Here I am, this young major. It's filled with colonels and 1-star and 2-star generals, and there were 4 monitors from different commands around the world. And I was the chair of this thing. So, yeah, that was pretty awkward. Personality type? Well, I am an ISTJ, the Myers-Briggs. So, you know, you can look that up of what an ISTJ is. But then what I like most is the Enneagram, and there I'm an 8, which means I'm a challenger. The thing I like about that is that, not that I want to challenge everything, although I often do, but it's when I'm healthy, what I love to do is to set people up for success. So I'll challenge systems that seem to be broken in order to watch others succeed. And I love doing that. So what makes me feel uncomfortable? Well, I don't like to be pointed out in a room. I don't like to have attention brought to myself. So this video makes me very uncomfortable. What activities do I like besides hiking? Well, a couple of things. I've got a lot of interests, but most of them revolve around teaching or sharing. My grandson and I, we built a gaming computer together. And as we built it, I would sort of try to relate to him how the computer has short-term memory and long-term memory, and so do we. And what are we putting in our long-term memory that when we need it, we'll pull back on that and pull it into our active memory, our action memory. Right now, we're restoring an old 1970 Volkswagen. And there again, it gives us a chance to sort of share these thoughts about, okay, if you put paint over rust, you're just going to cover up the rust and it's going to come out again. And that's the way life is as well. If we just sort of put something over what our challenges are, it's going to come back. So we would have to go in and do the hard work of digging through that stuff and finding healing in those old wounds. So I love playing with cars. I love playing with computers. But for myself, I just love woodwork. And so I like to get out and make things and build stuff. So yeah, that's my activities that I enjoy besides hiking. And then the final question they asked me is, what was the biggest struggle that I have overcome? I think that stems back to when I was in high school. Like many others, I was bullied, and so my coping mechanism for the bullying was to escape. So I would skip a lot of school. I remember once going and telling a teacher, and her response to me was, well, you should be used to it by now. And that always bothered me. Why would someone have to get used to being bullied? When I joined the military, I had an old sergeant that he would send me to different courses. And he told me that I better come out as the top student out of every one of those courses. So I worked hard. You don't want to tick off your first sergeant. So I worked very hard trying to be the best student. And what I discovered is that I love to learn. And while I hated high school, I really enjoyed learning new things. And so from there, I started taking college courses, night courses. I finished an associate's degree. And then, I was the only member of my family to ever go to college and finish a degree of any kind. But that really wasn't my motivator. I just loved to learn. So then I went on and I finished my bachelor's degree. We were stationed in upstate New York, and I had the opportunity to go to Syracuse University and finish a master's degree. And then the Army selected me to go to the Army War College. I was a lieutenant colonel at the time, and the Army War College is the elite school of the Army. Those that are selected to go there will be full colonels. Most of them will become generals. there are a lot of lieutenant colonels in the Army, but only 350 are selected each year to go to the Army War College. So it's a very elite school. And there I finished another master's degree. And then as I was preparing to retire, my call to vocation kicked in, and I felt that I needed to go into ministry. So I went to seminary, and there I finished with a PhD in leadership, and then went into ministry. And now I serve those that I can help in whatever way that I can. So, yep, that's pretty much a 360 degree about me. I would love to hear about you. Well, I'm going to close this. I don't know how long this thing has been. Too long. I try to keep these videos to about 10 minutes. But thanks for joining me, and you guys have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay responsible, but enjoy life.